life practice community.
Hello guys, how are you doing? It will be great to see some old sweet faces and some new ones. So I'm going to take you through it's a variation of a sun salutation, but it's probably going to be a lot slower than you're used to. So we start off by focusing on our breath. Still in child's pose if you can. So if you can notice now how you are breathing, is it slow? Is it a bit fast, especially after Alex's bar class? I mean, for me, this is my first bar class ever, so I noticed my breath is faster. So just take a couple of deep breaths, and on your exhale, see if you can prolong it a little bit. Maybe double the length. And see if you can do that on your inhale as well. So find that when I breathe slower, I move slower and I think slower. And I kind of release the grip of the mind a little bit. So 2 more really slow breaths. When you are ready after that, really extend your arms out in front. We're gonna go into downward facing dog, so you know where you're going, but we're gonna do it quite slow. Feel your hands grounded, fingers really spread wide, especially ground the knuckles underneath the index finger, underneath the thumb. And pull the armpits in towards the face. Sit back as far as you can towards your heels. And then slowly come up to a tabletop with a little bit of an arch in your back, in your lower back. Pull the shoulders back. And tuck your toes, leaning back. And push back with your arms and lift up into downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for a little bit. Pedal your feet first. And make sure you use the strength in your arms to just push yourself back. Picture your hips being lifted higher up towards your ceiling, or if you have an open roof, up against the sky. Navel into the spine. 2 more breaths like this. The inhale increases the length of the spine, pushing back. And then after those 2 breaths, you can sit back or lower down into child's pose. Really relax in child's pose. For 1 breath, release your shoulders. And then extend your arms out once more. So ground the hands just like you did before. Armpits in towards the face. So we create some length in the neck. And then roll up to tabletop with an arch in your back. And tuck, not untuck, but tuck your toes. Push back, lift up to downward facing dog. Once more, we stay here for 2 breaths. Make sure your hands are still grounded. Armpits in towards the face, pushing back. After those 2 breaths, use your core to repel you forward into a plank pose and lower your knees to the floor. Stay here for a little bit. Pull the shoulders back, navel into the spine, lean the heart more forward. Keep your arms straight and the elbows tucked in. And then arch your lower back so your butt lifts up a little bit. And then you lower the chest slowly, the chest and the chin towards the floor. And just stay here for a little bit. Your butt is lifted, your chest and your chin is on the floor, and your elbows are tucked into your side bodies. Now untuck your toes and lift the upper body slowly up from the ground and your hips sink. Pull the shoulders back so we lift up into a little bit of a cobra. Pull the shoulders back, gaze down. Stay here for one breath. Pull the shoulders back and then tuck your toes. Push slowly back into a tabletop. Move slowly, move slower than you really want to or used to. And then shift up and back into the downward facing dog once more. Now pedal your feet slowly, slower, even slower. It's like they're just moving in slow motion. One more breath like this. So picture yourself still moving in slow motion. And we roll forward to a plank pose once more. Slowly, see if you can lower the knees slowly to the floor. Arching your lower back, pulling the heart forward between your arms, and then you lower your chest and your chin to the floor. It might be heavy for your arms, but lower as slowly as you can. And when you come down with the chest and chin, untuck your toes and roll, peel the upper body up from the floor. Lift the heart through the arms, keep your hips grounded. Gaze down. One more inhale, lifting the heart even higher. And then untuck your toes. Slowly pulling or pushing yourself back through tabletop, and then up and back to downward facing dog. 2 more breaths in down dog. You can pedal your feet if you like, you don't have to. Make sure the inhale really lifts your hips higher. It's like your spine becomes longer. After 2 breaths, lower down into child's pose and release the arms down by your side. A couple of breaths there where you really feel, or see if you can feel release of your shoulders. They're really relaxed. Now we're going to go into another variation. It's basically the same, just a little bit different. So extend your arms out in front once more, ground in the hands. So you feel your left hand is grounded, your right hand is grounded. Armpits in towards the face. Slow breath. Roll slowly up to tabletop, arch in your back, navel into the spine, tuck your toes, and push yourself back and up into downward facing dog. Just breathe however you feel like. Right now there's no inhale in this direction or exhale in that direction. The point now is to just have a slow breath. Navel into the spine, slowly roll forward to plank pose. And if you can, lower the knees, the chest, and the chin to the floor at the same time if you can. Keep the elbows tucked into your side body. When you come down, untuck your toes, peeling slowly the upper body up, rolling the shoulders back while the heart lifts. Now we're going to lower down to the floor, and we're going to do this slowly. Tuck your toes, lift your sit bones a little bit so there's an arch in your back. I'm going to show this from the side after. So we want to ground the forearms now while we push ourselves back. So pushing yourself back towards the back of the mat. Now grounding the elbows while your chest is touching the ground or almost in the ground. Still the chin is also touching. Now pushing yourself back. The forearms are now on the floor. So just stop here for a second. So you're in tabletop with the forearms on the floor. Now keep pushing yourself further back extending the arms and the legs and lifting up to downward facing dog. 2 more breaths. Down dog. And then you lower down into a child's pose. Once more. When you lower down, extend your arms. So getting the arms ready. Getting the upper arms activated by rolling the upper arms out. Keeping the hands grounded still. Keep the breath smooth and slow, rolling forward to a tabletop once more. Tuck your toes. Push yourself back and lift up to down dog. Now we're going to roll slowly forward to plank pose once more. Push the floor away, don't bend the arms yet. And then start lowering down the knees, chest, chin to the floor. Slowly, if you can. And tuck your toes, lift the heart through the arms. Once more, lower down to the floor. And not untuck, but tuck your toes and lift your butt up. We're gonna push ourselves back and the butt becomes a little bit higher. And now push yourself back, the chest and the chin still to the floor. Push yourself back, the elbow knuckles touch the floor. Now the whole forearms are on the floor. And keep pushing and lift up to downward facing dog. 1 more breath in down dog. If you want to see this and you're not really sure how to do this, you can stop for a second and just sit up and watch. If you're ready to go from down dog once more forward to plank pose, we'll do that together. So rolling forward to plank pose, navel into the spine. Now lower the knees, chest, and chin. And tuck the toes, lift the heart up through the arms. Slowly, we have all the time in the world. Lowering down, tuck your toes, lift the butt up. Push yourself back, so the forearms grounds the chest and chin slowly. Pushing yourself back, and then lift up to downward facing dog. 2 breaths in down dog. Let's say 3 breaths. So the point is, when you're pushing yourself back, to have the forearms and the elbows really close to your side body so they don't splay out, and holding and pulling the shoulders back at the same time. So once more, rolling forward to plank pose, lowering chest, chin, and knees. And tuck your toes, lift the heart up through the arms. Just stay here for 1 more breath. Really feel that you can lift the heart a little bit higher up. Lowering down to the floor. Tuck your toes, lift the butt up, and push yourself back. So the forearms and the chest and chin is close to the ground, and then push up into a downward facing dog. 2 breaths like this. And then lower down into a child's pose. Release arms down by your side, release your shoulders. Just 1 more breath, just 2, since we've done a few chaturangas already in the previous class. See how your shoulders feel right now. Always take care of your shoulders. So this warm-up here is something I normally do. I do a lot of chaturangas, but I don't go into them as quick because I want to take care of my shoulders. So lowering the knees to the ground first is a great warm-up. So once more, extend the arms out. Now ground the hands. Your index finger point forward. Rolling slowly up to tabletop. Tuck your toes. Push yourself back once more up to downward facing dog, creating some length in the spine. So just stay here for a little bit. If you feel that your heels almost touch the floor or your mat, see if you can lift the toes up from the mat. And if you can lift the toes up from the mat, lift them higher. One more breath like this. Really going to create some stretch in the calves. Now, once more, rolling forward to plank pose. Armpits in towards the face, navel into the spine. And then lifting the butt up, lowering the knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Elbows close into the body. Now, tuck your toes, lifting the heart once more up through the arms. So moving slowly, don't go to the end position if you have an end position at once. See if you can move slowly, lifting a higher chest, a little bit higher with each breath. And then lowering down. Tuck your toes, lift the butt up. So now when you're pushing yourself back, the chest and the chin is so close to the ground, it's either touching or kissing the ground. Pushing yourself back, the forearms, ground, keep pushing with the hands, and then lift up and down into downward facing dog once more. If you had enough now, you can relax in child's pose. If you want to go through this one more time, we can go together. So rolling forward to plank pose and lowering slowly or fast to the floor, lifting the heart up through the arms. You can feel the heart lift slowly. And then lower down to the floor. Tuck your toes, lift the butt up. And then push yourself back. Chest and chin is almost touching the ground or touching. And then back up into downward facing dog the last time. So maybe 2 breaths in down dog. Armpits in towards the face. It might be good also to engage Mula Bandha in down dog if you're used to that. And lower down into a child's pose. Release the arms down by your side. Just take a few deep breaths in this position. We are going to do a little bit of a stretch that I like to do after I use my arms and shoulders a lot. So basically, before we go into child's pose again, so come to a low squat, if you feel like sitting up. And have your heels lifted, and take a look at your right hand, and flip it so the top of the hand is down, and place it on your hip. Not too far back, not too far forward, but right on your hip. And grab the elbow and see if you can pull it on the inside of the knee. Pull the knee in and draw that shoulder back. So we're feeling for a stretch on the upper arm and maybe a little bit on the shoulder as well. This is a nice stretch that I like, at least when I use my arms and my shoulders a lot. Keep breathing slowly. And one more breath. And let go. And we go to the other side. So the top of the hand and the hip crease. And then the elbow on the inside of the knee, pulling that knee in. Draw the shoulder back. We'll take one more slow breath. And then you release. And if you want to try it, do both at the same time into a real chicken pose. Draw the shoulders back. Pull the knees in. 2 breaths like this. Well done, everyone. After your second breath, find your child's pose. However you want to relax in your child's pose, just stay there for a few breaths. And thank you